Okay, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Steam Gaming, and I play it all. I do it all. I enjoy racing games, and so far, my most popular content on YouTube has been my KartKraft videos. And in the comment sections, I've been seeing some demand for my settings, what I use to make the game feel more accessible, and um, this just basically the setup I have for my wheel. I'm running a Logitech G920, the Xbox version, the one that converts to PC. These settings should be able to cover you on the G920, the G923, and the G27. So a couple more things. My pedals are inverted, meaning whereas normally your pedals sit on the floor and you depress them this way, my pedals sit this way and I depress them this way. So kind of like an actual car. Um, Outside of that, inside of my Logitech G Hub software, I have made no changes whatsoever. So let's actually get into the meat of it and start talking about some of the changes that I made to the settings to make this game feel better. Now, first of all, something that you have to realize when you're playing KartKraft is it's not like Assetto Corsa, it's not like Competizione, R Factor 2, it's not like any other game with karts in it that you've ever played. Automobilista 2, none of it. Um, it's a lot more. What's the word you want to use? It's a lot more precise. So as far as turning your wheel, you're barely going to turn your wheel at all. So I mean, I barely move my wheel left and right to make very sharp, precise movements in this game. So starting off, let's go ahead and take a look at my game settings to start off with. My field of view, I like it at 93, 92. It lets me see the front two wheels. It lets me see my legs a little bit up until like maybe the shins. Lets me see my arms, and it lets me see enough of the track to where I don't have to use any head tracking or anything like that. The suggested field of view for my setting, you'll see there's some settings here. You can put them in the width in millimeters of your screen and the bezels on the end, as well as the viewable width of your screen and the bezels on the end, and then the view distance. So that's the distance from your eyes to the screen. So you'll see my screen with bezels is 778 millimeters. My screen without the bezels is 750 millimeters, and my view distance is 745 millimeters from my eyeballs to the screen. That leaves my suggested field of view at 53. I don't use the suggested field of view. We're going to circle back on that, and I'm going to explain why I don't use the suggested field of view with examples. I use 93 or 94. It's the same field of view that I use in shooting games. I don't know if there's any real transfer over for field of view, but I found that it works. It works well for me. It really just depends on, I guess, what you like to see. But I like to see as much as possible without having a fisheye effect on my screen. Like the old skate videos that had the fisheye cameras down low, and you could see everything in front of the skater, everything behind the skater, as well as the skater, but they look super weird and elongated. I don't like that effect. So I try to keep everything looking as natural as possible while also extending the field of view to a point where I can see around corners. I can see carts as they're coming past me, so I don't accidentally, turn into them. And there is a radar, but and the radar is pretty accurate in this game. However, it's a good thing to have. It's a good thing to be able to see carts as they're coming by you. As far as I like to show the driver, show my steering wheel. That's just basic stuff. Everything else is pretty normal. My screen sits right in front of me. I used to have. I'm actually going to change this back. My vertical offset was at -13. I was playing around with this earlier on. My vertical offset is at -13 because I like to when it's at zero. There's a lot of there's a lot of the track above your head that you don't really need to see, like from your eye level looking out. There's just a lot of dead space above what you're looking at, and it's something that I don't really need to see. So I put my head, I tilt my head down a little bit so that it just eliminates all of that stuff from the top, and I can see more of the track, more of my legs. Pitch angle 0, head shake intensity, I just keep it at 100. I've never had a problem with it. Look, dead zone. I don't use the look buttons. I don't look left. I don't look right. There are a lot of players that do look left and look right, but this look dead zone would be how far you have to push the stick on a controller or whatever button you're using. If it's buttons, I don't think the dead zone's really going to matter that much. But if it's a stick, an analog stick, it's how far you have to push that stick for that function, that look to actually activate. So you'd have to push it 10% of its available movement to the left or the right for it to actually start looking on your screen. Look invert, like I said, I don't use the look stuff, so we just kept that normal. And then horizon lock, roll, and pitch, that's when you go over bumps. It's the amount of camera change. I just kept it at 50%. I've made no real changes there. Heads up display, everything's the way it comes. I like the way it comes. I took player tags off. The reason I have player tags off is because if I just got a floating name tag above somebody's head, that's a portion of the screen that I'm not able to see. So we just took all the floating name tags off. I do it for all the racing games I play. I don't know that it actually makes a difference being that a name tag is so small, but every little bit of visibility is gonna help you. In a game like this, where the tracks are so small and your reaction time needs to be quick. So, vehicle radar, definitely have that on. You want your vehicle radar on. I don't think if you're playing in VR, maybe you don't want vehicle radar on, but if you're not playing in VR, I would 100% recommend leaving your vehicle radar on. And the reason being is because how are you going to see what's coming up behind you? How are you going to know what's off to your left just in your blind zone when you turn left into that corner or turn right into that corner? If you just run into something, it's gonna ruin your race. It is, because contact in this game is almost always fatal. At least it is for me. So we try to avoid contact as much as possible at all times when we're racing. So vehicle radar, good thing. Assists, we got racing line, we got clutch. I turned auto clutch on. You can hate me for it, whatever. I have a clutch pedal. I'm not that good with it, I'll admit. I drive a stick shift car in real life, and I'm good at driving a stick shift car in real life, but coming over into the sim side, I'm not too good with it. This is a new setting I didn't notice before that needs to be turned off. My racing lines, I turn them all off. That's up to you personally. Don't ever let anybody judge you for your assist. It doesn't matter. It's what you like to do. If you want to play with your racing line on, if you want to play with auto clutch, if you want to play with auto shifting, that's all on you. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise, or don't let anyone, you'll never be a good racer, forget about them people. They're negative Nancy's anyways, and we don't really care about their opinions. All right, so moving on to telemetry, no real changes here because I don't know what to do with it, to be honest. I've been sim racing for maybe 2 or 3 years, but I've never actually started to use any of this stuff. My sim rig is very, very simple. I've got the very simple baseline G920. I got a very simple rig supporting it, and I got a very simple chair. The chair is not even a racing chair. It's just an office. It's a gaming chair, a very cheap one. I'm not even sure who makes it. It's so cheap. I got it off OfferUp. And what I did is I took the wheels off, and Bob's your uncle. It doesn't go nowhere. So, moving on to input. So I'm sure this is what everybody's looking for. We're going to start with, let's see, where are we looking at? Force. So all this stuff is going to be pretty much auto set in your steering wheel when you load it up, or it'll take you through a little GUI that helps you set this stuff up. So your steering, your throttle, your brake. But as you can see, we don't really have a camera on my steering wheel here. But let's see if we can actually move this camera a little bit. Pay attention to this area right here, G920 steering. You'll see when I steer left, very basic. Let me keep the mouse here so we can focus on that. Oh, my mouse doesn't want to stay in one spot, whatever. But look, so to get to 100% steering lock on the left side, we go left, we go left, we go left, we go left, we go left. And right before 90 degrees is where we hit 100% on the left. Same for the right. We go right, we go right, we go right, we go right. Right before 90 degrees on the right, we hit full 100% steering lock. So you have about 180 degrees of steering to play with. So if you're going into a corner and throwing your steering wheel around, you know, just keep in mind that you don't have to steer very much for the cart to respond to what you're doing. And again, we'll get to some examples later on after we get through these settings. So let's go ahead and bring it back up here. We'll put the camera back down here later on. To the stuff everybody wants to talk about. Force feedback gain, I have it at 125%. I like a strong wheel. I like strong forces. It's just a personal preference of mine. If you like it to feel a little bit more light, that's up to you. The reason I have it at 125 is because in my mind, it lets me feel everything that the car's doing, everything that the cart is doing, you know, plus some, plus 25% of some actually. So, let's see. Zero zero force feedback filtering, zero minimum force, zero force feedback dead zone, because we don't want, we want to feel all of it. That dead zone is a spot in your force feedback where your force feedback's not going to work. So we don't want that. We want to feel every little bit of force feedback. Throttle dead zone, we have it at 0. The moment I touch the gas, I want that gas to be going. And you'll see I get to 100%, that gas goes. So my throttle dead zone is 100%. My braking dead zone is 0%. I used to run, when I first started this game, and this is something that you can try for yourself. If you have a Logitech G920, G27, or G923, the load cell in the brake is terrible. So first thing I recommend you do is to take that load cell out. It's very simple, very easy to do. You take your base, you unscrew the screws from the bottom, right? Take the two pieces apart. All of your pedals are going to be in there. You take your middle pedal and you take that little bit of rubber out of the spring. Then you just put everything back together. That's going to give you 100% play on your brake pedal. You'll be able to push it all the way down. With that load cell in there that's extremely stiff, you probably only get about 25% of movement on your brake pedal. So I definitely recommend removing the load cell from your brake pedal. If the brakes if you got a little bit of a heavy foot, as far as braking, the brakes are going to be very sensitive in a game like this. So if you got a heavy foot, you can probably run a dead zone from 1 to 5%. So that way, when you push it, once you get to 5%, then your brake will start activating, and that kind of will sort of mimic the opposite of a load cell, if you will. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the brakes. The brakes are super sensitive. It's what took me the most getting used to. Anybody can drive straight, anybody can turn. It's the braking that you want to really get down. And when you do press the brakes in this game, you don't really have to press them a lot at all. I barely touch the brakes, and the cart will slow down very, very quickly. And this is something you can play around with in practice mode. If you're pressing the brakes and they're locking up immediately and you just feel like there's nothing I can do about it, go ahead and try to add a little bit of a braking dead zone in there, and that'll perhaps help you stop your brakes from locking up. It was a problem when I first started playing this game. So basically, when I first started playing this game, I would lock my brakes up all the time because I was coming from a game where I used ABS. Assetto Corsa Competizione, I did use a little bit of ABS there, so I was able to push my brake all the way to the ground, and my tires wouldn't locked up. So obviously, moving over to a game like this, that's going to cause some issues. You don't want your brakes to lock up. You don't want them tires to lock up at all. So remember, very, very, very light and delicate use of your brakes it goes a long way. It has a huge effect on slowing the cart down. Clutch dead zone, I don't use it. Don't really have to go over it, but it's sort of the same thing. You can put a dead zone in your clutch. Like in a car, there's a dead zone on a clutch. You can't just tap your clutch and then start changing gears because you're gonna grind, right? You got to push your clutch down maybe like 25% and then swap gears, and then you can let it up. This all depends on what you like to feel while you ride, while you drive. So if you like going to 25%, you want it to feel like an actual car, then put your clutch dead zone up, play around with it. All these settings, I absolutely recommend playing around with them. This is just what I have found to be successful in the game. So look horizontal and look vertical. We don't use those at all. Don't have to worry about them. Gamepad and keyboard, I haven't set any of this stuff up. It's all I don't use a gamepad. I don't use the keyboard for this game. I literally just use my mouse and the steering wheel. Simple enough, right? Moving on, just some graphics settings. This all depends on your computer. VSync disabled, resolution 200. I use TXAA because it's very smooth. You'll see a lot of jagged edges when you use the other anti-aliasing methods. And then everything's set to ultra. I've got a fairly decent computer. My screen is not fairly decent, so I can't run HDR yet. You know, we're working towards a better screen, but as of now, no HDR. FPS limit, we want no FPS limit. We want you want as much FPS as you can out of the game at all times. Motion blur, I always turn motion blur off on every game I play. This motion blur setting is a setting that they put in the games for people that get motion sickness. So when you put that motion blur in there, it sort of dampens the motion and sort of tricks the mind into not getting sick for some people. Sharpen, I've got that at 100%. When you run it higher, it just looks weird. It looks like the other anti-aliasing methods where everything's just super jagged and it's just very, very weird to look at. So that's what we have for graphics. Sound, I didn't mess with any of this. I did mess with Kart because the karts are extremely loud, but they're loud in real life. But I stream, so people have to be able to hear my voice, so I turn the karts down to 80%. And then having the karts down to 80% and the tires up to 100%, you can actually hear what your tires are doing a little bit better. So you can hear if you're locking your brakes, because the pedals on these Logitech devices, they don't have force feedback. They can't tell you, hey, they're locked up. Only the wheel can really tell you that. And sound feedback. So tire volume, 100%, kart volume, 80%. Now, technically, I could turn opponent volume down to 80% as well. That's the opponent's vehicles. I turn the music all the way down so I don't get a copyright strike. And that's just all to do with streaming. If you don't stream and you like the music, I didn't even know. I've been playing it for so long that I didn't even know there was menu music. So we turned that back off for no copyright strike. Ambient volume, we keep that up. You like an immersive environment when you're racing. You don't want just silence around you, so that ambience just adds a little bit of realism to what you're doing. Okay, VR, we got nothing there, so let's go ahead and pull a track up here, just a normal track. We'll go Brent. Brent's a good track, I think, to sort of show you that you don't have to push. You have to be delicate. Let's put it that way. You have to be very delicate with your inputs in a sim like this. So if you didn't know, also, Formula K is the way to go. This is what all your fastest guys are driving right here. Now there's some outliers, some dudes that are just aliens and whatever they drive, but if you want just that extra leg up, if you get into the Discord, you'll see that most of the fastest guys are driving the Formula K K100 and the Formula K X30. So it's the one I always use. You can always go back and customize it and make it look different and stuff. I think I have a customized one, but we'll just go with this one for now. I don't have any setups for this track. We're gonna do a whole separate video for making setups. For these tracks. So right now we're just talking about controlling the kart in the game. And we want to get everybody to a point where they can put up some consistent laps without, smashing into barriers and stuff like that. Okay, so to start with, field of view. Let me show you what the suggested field... Ooh. We made a mistake here, y'all. We did make a mistake here. And this is going to be... Let's see, game. That's vertical offset. My bad. We did make a little bit of mistake there. Vertical offset was -3, not -13. So excuse me, -3. And you'll see, right? Vertical offset at 0. There's a whole lot of space up here that's not track. It's just sky. I don't care what the sky looks like. I care what the track looks like and what's in front of me. So we just put it down at... oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. We put it down at -3. It drops the view just a little bit. Lets you see, just takes a little bit of that dead space out of the top. Okay, suggested field of view. Let me show you a lap with the suggested field of view. Right, and now this is probably what you would see if you were actually driving a real kart. But the difference is, I can be in a real kart and go like this, and go like this, right? You can look left and right. So let's go ahead and ride out, and I'll show you why I don't use this. I can't see where I'm going. You see what I'm saying? You get halfway through the corner and you can't see anything. I can't see my exit, none of that. None of it. I don't know where I'm going at all. I don't know when I'm supposed to put my foot on the gas, nothing. And I'll show you the difference. Let's go ahead and pull around the corner here. Alright. Let's go ahead and stop the cart. Let's go back to our settings. Game. Field of view. And put it back to the field of view that I like to use. 94, right? Now, let's take a look at the difference. You're going to be able to see into your corners, out of your corners, everything. Let's go ahead and roll out. And we're just taking it easy this time for the sake of instruction. So as you can see, when I get through the corner, I can see where the outside of the corner is. I can see where the inside of the corner is. I can see when I need to put my foot down, whole 9 yards. It's good stuff to know. It's good information to have while you're racing, right? Okay. So that covers field of view. Now let me show y'all. I'm gonna try to make a little change here to my camera. Bear with me. Probably gonna cut this part of the video out. Let me show y'all steering input and how far my steering wheel actually turns while we're doing this. Let's go ahead and grab the camera. Don't look at my feet. Put it right here. Okay. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a setup that allows me to put the camera directly on the wheel, but you're gonna see my wheel barely turns. Alright, you see that? My wheel, the camera's doing some funky stuff over here, but the wheel barely turns the whole time. I didn't take my wheel really past 10 degrees left or right, and I was able to make corners that were 180 degrees. So this is we really got to work on this camera, on the camera angle. Maybe I should just buy more cameras and just put them in static places. But that lets you know right there, if you're doing big sharp inputs and you're wondering why the cart just, you can't keep control of it, loosen your arms, loosen your wrists, everything, and just be smooth with it. Very, very smooth. And the cart will respond to what you're doing. Now I want to cover one last thing. Slip angle. Slip angle is your best friend. You'll notice on these past few laps, it was almost like my cart was drifting into the corner. And what that's called, it's not drifting, it's called slip angle. Now, personally, I can't really explain to you as well as I would like to what slip angle is. So I would recommend you looking up what is slip angle. You don't, it's the same in everything. It's the same in cars. It's the same in carts. So it doesn't matter what you're watching the video for. slip angle is gonna help you make these karts faster. And basically the idea is it's a very small angle controlled drift into a corner that keeps your revs up and allows you to come out of the corner faster because you're pointing the right direction. You're getting that kart pointed the right direction to come out of the corner faster than it normally would if it had full traction, and you're keeping your revs high. That's a big thing with the karts is once you lose your revs, it takes forever to get them back up. It takes forever to get the kart spooled back up, and you notice that when you're actually racing against people. So I'll do another lap or so, and you'll get an idea of what it looks like. And also, bear in mind, I have no setup on this kart. I haven't got my tire pressure set up right, so it's an easier thing to do when you have everything set up. So basically, those very slight inputs I was telling you about, you're gonna still do the slight inputs. You know, you want to master driving the kart without sliding first. I would absolutely recommend mastering driving your kart without doing the slides first. But once you get that fast, once you've mastered how to do that, it's almost like second nature. And some of you may be hearing slip angle and not really knowing what I'm talking about, but if you've played racing games before, simulator racing games, you've probably done it and not even realized. So we're gonna go back out here again. I'm gonna do a lap that's controlled without any, I'm gonna do my best to do a lap that's controlled without any sliding. It's part of my driving now, so I may not be as successful with doing it. But basically with the slip angle, you want to give it the amount of input you normally would, but right before the corner starts, you want to give it just a tiny little bit more input, just to take the kart out of balance just a tiny little bit and get back on your gas. So let's do a lap where we try to control the kart with no sliding. Alright, controlled lap. And you'll notice with a controlled lap, you have to brake earlier. You have to slow down more. With these X30 karts, they have a little bit more power. This probably would have been a better thing to explain in a KA100 because they can bog down a lot easier. My controlled lap. Oh, my controlled lap without any sliding. Now, a lap with sliding. Okay, not like that. Not like that. That was a better example of slip angle. We'll go ahead and do one more lap. Okay, and just like that, we set a faster lap. So let me go ahead and move my camera back to where it was so we can finish this video off. We don't really want it going too much past 30 minutes. Oh, I dropped my mouse. Alright, camera back where it belongs. Light where it belongs. Alright, y'all, so just to recap specifically on slip angle. a little bit of extra input towards what you're already doing. Master going around the track without sliding first. Very imperative. You know, you gotta walk before you can run. Another way to initiate slip angle is a little bit heavier on your brakes than you normally would be. It's almost to the point of locking them up, but not actually locking them up. So you brake heavy, and then right before you turn in, give that brake a little stab along with your extra input, and get back on your gas. Now you'll notice I missed a lot of my apexes for that demonstration lap. That's mainly due to my cart not being set up at all. It's just a basic cart, but this also goes to show that you can jump into this game with a basic cart without any setup, and you can be successful. So first part of the video had a lot to do with the Logitech G920, G27, and G923. If you got those wheels, I hope that information helps you out very much. Second part of the video, a little bit more to do with controlling your cart no matter what wheel you're using. So I hope this video is helpful for y'all. I realize it's 30 minutes long, but it's good information. Otherwise, y'all, I appreciate everybody joining for the video. And I'll catch everybody later on the next one. Next video that's coming from Steam on YouTube will be the KartKraft, how to do a setup for your cart. And I've had some requests for videos on how to do setup. So, you know, very informal videos. I want y'all to relate with me. I'm a normal guy who just plays games, and I enjoy Sims. I'm not some alien or anything. I just put the time in, and I put the work in to be fast. You know what I mean? I'm not able to just come out and be fast. But yeah, anyways, y'all, thank you for joining. It's been real. It's been awesome. I hope this information helps y'all. Y'all have a wonderful day, night, whatever it is, wherever it is you are in the world. And yeah, like and subscribe to the page if you aren't already. I know most YouTubers say that. But yeah, we're trying to grow wherever we're at. So like and subscribe on the page if you like the content. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.